Hi. Welcome to Discovery Quests. I hope you all are doing great today. Adolf Hitler. Dictator of Germany. Adolf Hitler, by name Der Führer, German, the leader. Born April 20, 1889, Braunau am Inn, Austria, died April 30, 1945, Berlin, Germany, leader of the Nazi Party, from 1920-21, and Chancellor, Kanzler, and Führer of Germany, 1933-45. He was Chancellor from January 30, 1933, and, after President Paul von Hindenburg's death, assumed the twin titles of Führer and Chancellor, August 2, 1934. Hitler's father, Alois, born 1837, was illegitimate. For a time he bore his mother's name, Schicklgruber, but by 1876 he had established his family claim to the surname Hitler. Adolf never used any other surname. After his father's retirement from the state customs service, Adolf Hitler spent most of his childhood in Linz, the capital of Upper Austria. It remained his favorite city throughout his life, and he expressed his wish to be buried there. Alois Hitler died in 1903 but left an adequate pension and savings to support his wife and children. Although Hitler feared and disliked his father, he was a devoted son to his mother, who died after much suffering in 1907. With a mixed record as a student, Hitler never advanced beyond a secondary education. After leaving school, he visited Vienna, then returned to Linz, where he dreamed of becoming an artist. Later, he used the small allowance he continued to draw to maintain himself in Vienna. He wished to study art, for which he had some faculties, but he twice failed to secure entry to the Academy of Fine Arts. For some years he lived a lonely and isolated life, earning a precarious livelihood by painting postcards and advertisements and drifting from one municipal hostel to another. Hitler already showed traits that characterized his later life: loneliness and secretiveness, a bohemian mode of everyday existence, and hatred of cosmopolitanism, and of the multinational character of Vienna. Rise to power of Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler's rise to power commenced post-World War I when he joined the German Workers' Party, later renamed the Nazi Party. He swiftly ascended its ranks owing to his charisma and adept propaganda. Germany's post-war economic turmoil and political instability provided fertile ground for extremist parties. Hitler's influence grew, organizing paramilitary units like the SA to protect party meetings. Despite a failed coup in 1923, he emerged from prison determined to gain power legally. His radical beliefs, including anti-Semitism and an authoritarian state, were outlined in Mein Kampf. In the late 1920s and early 1930s, economic woes and the Great Depression increased support for Hitler's promises to alleviate suffering. The Nazi Party's strength soared, becoming the second largest in 1930, reflecting discontent. Hitler strategically allied with conservatives, capitalizing on anti-communist fears. In 1933, President Hindenburg appointed him Chancellor, underestimating his intentions. Hitler's shrewd political moves and propaganda swiftly consolidated his power, marking the start of his dictatorial rule. This led to the Nazi regime, triggering World War II and the Holocaust, causing immense destruction and loss of life. Dictator, 1933-39. Adolf Hitler established an absolute dictatorship in Germany after securing the president's approval for new elections. The Reichstag fire of February 1933 allowed him to override freedoms and escalate violence, leading to the Nazis polling 43.9% in the subsequent elections. The Enabling Act passed in March granted Hitler sweeping powers through combined Nazi, nationalist, and Centre Party support. Non-Nazi parties, organizations, and unions ceased to exist, and a German concordat with the Vatican followed the disappearance of the Catholic Centre Party. Hitler aimed to maintain conservative alliances and did not seek a radical revolution. He eliminated Ernst Röhm, a proponent of a continuing revolution. during the Night of the Long Knives in June 1934. Upon President Hindenburg's death, Hitler merged the chancellorship and presidency, gaining supreme command over the armed forces. Economic recovery, reduced unemployment, and propaganda garnered 90% plebiscite support. Hitler delegated detailed administration while focusing on broad policy and sustaining the regime through a system of terror. His foreign policy aimed at reclaiming German lands and expansion eastward, leading to breaking Treaty of Versailles restrictions. He used diplomacy to exploit suspicions and achieved territorial gains while avoiding resistance. Hitler's successful annexation of Austria in the Anschluss was followed by the dismemberment of Czechoslovakia, confirmed by the Munich Agreement. He later occupied the rest of Czechoslovakia, leading to the British and French declaration of war after invading Poland in September 1939. Hitler's foreign policy skills and timing showcased his ability to exploit weaknesses, setting the stage for World War II. Adolf Hitler assumed Germany's war strategy from the outset, shifting focus to the West after the successful Polish campaign failed to secure a peace accord with Britain. He occupied Norway and Denmark to prevent a British presence, while adopting General Erich von Manstein's Ardennes attack plan, leading to rapid successes in the West. Hitler's plans were disrupted by Italy's failures in Greece, requiring German aid in the Balkans and North Africa. Hitler's foreign policy aimed at Britain's isolation, leading to conflict in the Mediterranean, and preparations for the invasion of the Soviet Union. The invasion of the Soviet Union faced setbacks, and Hitler's overbearing involvement strained relations with his generals. The failure to break the British-US alliance led to a change in strategy. Defeats at El Alamein, Stalingrad, and the US landing in North Africa marked a turning point. Hitler's reliance on his physician and overuse of medication altered his character. Despite attempted assassinations, Hitler retained control. As Allied victories mounted, he retreated to Berlin. In April 1945, Hitler married Eva Braun, dictated his political testament, and, facing defeat, took his own life. His impact on Germany and the world was immense, leaving a devastated Europe in his wake. Hitler's place in history. At the turn of the 21st century, more books had been written about Hitler than about Napoleon in the half-century after his death. The passage of time has influenced how Hitler is understood historically. There is consensus on Hitler's pivotal role in starting World War II and his responsibility for the Holocaust. Though no single document confirms his order, his speeches, writings, and associates' testimonies implicate him. His final testament urged continued struggle against Jews. While surviving documents and speeches reveal his views, Hitler remained secretive. Mein Kampf's autobiographical section distorts facts. The notion of his madness is debated. Hitler displayed calculated brutality and maintained mental abilities. Hitler remarkably united Germans behind him, garnering massive support due to economic success and social achievements. By 1938, Germany was formidable. His brutal decisions catalyzed his downfall, forging an unusual alliance against him. Open and hidden admirers persist, but Hitler's reputation as the embodiment of evil remains unshaken due to his atrocities. Mein Kampf. Mein Kampf, authored by Adolf Hitler, stands as the seminal political manifesto of Nazism in Nazi Germany. Published in 1925 and 1927, it garnered over 5 million copies sold by 1939. The book expounds Hitler's racist beliefs, advocating Aryan superiority, anti-Semitism, and territorial acquisition. While characterized by turgid and demagogic prose, it appealed to various discontented segments. Post-war efforts sought to restrict access due to its association with Nazi ideology. Copyright for Mein Kampf expired in 2016, allowing for its publication in the public domain. Subsequently, an annotated edition was released by Munich's Institute for Contemporary History. The book's historical significance and its impact on the rise of Nazism remain subjects of study and debate. Operation Barbarossa. Operation Barbarossa, original name Operation Fritz. During World War II, code name for the German invasion of the Soviet Union, which was launched on June 22, 1941. The failure of German troops to defeat Soviet forces in the campaign signaled a crucial turning point in the war. Now the question is this: why was Adolf Hitler significant? Hitler was of great historical importance, a term that does not imply a positive judgment, because his actions changed the course of the world. He was responsible for starting World War II, which resulted in the deaths of more than 50 million people. It also led to the extension of the Soviet Union's power in Eastern, Central, and Balkan Europe, enabled a communist movement to eventually achieve control in China, and marked the decisive shift of power away from Western Europe and toward the United States and the Soviet Union. In addition, Hitler was responsible for the Holocaust, the state-sponsored killing of 6 million Jews and millions of others. How did Adolf Hitler rise to power? Hitler's rise to power traces to 1919, when he joined the German Workers' Party that became the Nazi Party. With his oratorical skills and use of propaganda, he soon became its leader. Hitler gained popularity nationwide by exploiting unrest during the Great Depression, and in 1932 he placed second in the presidential race. Hitler's various maneuvers resulted in the winner, Paul von Hindenburg, appointing him Chancellor in January 1933. The following month the Reichstag fire occurred, and it provided an excuse for a decree overriding all guarantees of freedom. Then on March 23 the Enabling Act was passed, giving full powers to Hitler. When Hindenburg died on August 2, 1934, the chancellorship and the presidency were merged, and Hitler secured his position as Führer, leader. How did Adolf Hitler die? As Soviet troops entered the heart of Berlin, Hitler committed suicide on April 30, 1945, in his underground bunker. Although there is some speculation about the manner of his death, it is widely believed that he shot himself. Eva Braun, whom he had recently married, also took her own life. According to his wishes, both bodies were burned and buried. Almost immediately, however, conspiracy theories began. The Soviets initially claimed that they were unable to confirm Hitler's death and later spread rumors that he was alive. According to subsequent reports, however, the Soviets recovered his burnt remains, which were identified through dental records. Hitler's body was secretly buried before being exhumed and cremated, with the ashes scattered in 1970. That's it for today. We will meet with another interesting topic very soon.